Hello and welcome again to Immigration News and Views. My name is David Nachman. I'm one of the managing attorneys at the NPZ Law Group, and with me today is Ravindra Singh, one of the attorneys also here in our office in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Ravi, you want to say hello?
Hi viewers, you might have seen me in other videos.
And
I just wanted to thank David Unge for making videos with me.
Yeah, no, don't be, of course, it's no problem. I want to just let our viewers know, as usual, that we have offices in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We also have an office in Midtown Manhattan. We have affiliated offices in Mumbai, India, and also in Canada, where we're happy to meet with clients who have questions about their particular issues. And we now also have a representative in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, where we're also able to meet with clients if they have particular questions and if it's more convenient for them, of course. We also have video conferencing capabilities, and we always try to do that for the convenience of our clients. But first of all, welcome back, because I think that this is a logical extension of the video that we previously did about the H-1B cap and ways in which you can get exemptions from the cap. So what I'm going to do is turn it over to Ravi, and Ravi, tell us some of the other ways that we might be able to apply for H-1Bs now without having to wait until April of 2015.
In the last video we discussed about the cap exempt visas, but if we go beyond and explore other options, there is a different species of H-1B visas, I'll call it. It's called H-1B visa.
Mm-hmm.
That is for the nationals of Chile and Singapore. And this is based on the free trade agreement between the two countries.
Right. And there's a certain amount of visas available on a fiscal year basis that are carved out for the Singapore free trade, the Chile-Singapore free trade agreement. Sure. I believe it's something like 6,800.
Yeah,
or something.
In total it's 6,800.
Okay, right.
It's 6,800, and specifically.
I did that from memory. That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah. And for Singapore, it's the higher number gets allocated to Singapore. It's 5,400, and for Chile, it's 1,400 visas.
So what is the difference between an H-1B normal, H-1B, and an H-1B1?
The real difference is you really don't need to apply to the USCIS in order to get your H-1B1. Yeah, the petition can be prepared, and you can go to a consular post and get your H-1B1 stamped. And then using that visa, you can enter the United States. In the later video, we are going to talk about what are the proposed changes that the White House announced recently regarding H-1B1
Very recently, I think they just came out today.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but apart from that, there are other visas like for Canadian and Mexican nationals. So we have a category called TN visa.
Right. And actually, I just want to clarify, because it's a little bit of a nuance. What Ravi is saying is that he's referring to it as a visa, but it's really not a visa. It's actually a classification, because Canadians are visa exempt. So the TN is actually a classification. So the TN classification and also the E3 classification. E3. Right. And so
thanks David for clarifying that. And E3 is for the nationals of Commonwealth of Australia. So you can say the nationals of Australia can qualify for E3 visas. And like the H1B1 visa, E3 visas, they are also capped, and they are capped at like 10,500 per fiscal year.
So one of the things that's a nuance that we should kind of point out, I think, to our viewers, if you're thinking about the H1B1, if you're thinking about the TN, if you're thinking about the E3, just be aware that these classifications are not dual intent. So one of the things that's really important for you, and for those of you who have seen me go around and lecture at academic institutions, I always talk about making sure that you have a dual intent non-immigrant visa classification before you decide to go to the green card. And why is that? Well, the reason why you want to do that is because you don't want to set up a conflict in the underlying intent. So it's okay to move to let's say a TN or to an E3 or to an H1B1. It's okay to do that, because what you're going to do hopefully is buy yourself a little breathing room in order to get over to the normal H-1B or to some other dual intent classification before you jump over to the green card. And the green card, of course, your intention is to live and to work permanently in the United States. So obviously, if you don't have and with a dual intent classification, you can kind of you can intend to be here and intend to be not here at the same time. So so just make sure that you put into your, you put into the analysis the possibility of biding a little time in these non-immigrant, non-dual intent classifications before going over to a dual intent classification.
Sure, there's definitely a possibility of switching from H1B1 or TN or E3 to dual intent visas. Dual intent visas are H1B or L1, or there are other categories of visas.
Exactly.
Next thing, visa that could be explored as an option. They are E visas. And when I talk about visas, there are two types of visas. There are treaty investor visas and there are treaty trader visas. So you need to be, and that depends on the type of trade agreement that the United States has with the foreign country. If United States has a bilateral investment treaty, normally called as a BIT, you may qualify for an E2 visa. But if United States has a free trade agreement, then you could qualify for both E1 or an E2 visa.
And the E1 and the E2 visa classifications are very effective mechanisms for individuals who are from certain countries. Of course, that's the most important thing, is to figure out whether you're from a country that allows E1 or E2 status. And it's very easy to check. You can go onto the Department of State website at travel.state.gov, and then what you can do is just put in the search term E1 and E2 countries, and they'll give you a chart, and you can see whether or not the country qualifies. Now, not all countries that qualify for E1 qualify for E2 and vice versa, so you really have to look to see whether or not the country qualifies for E1 or E2 or both.
To give you an example, India does not qualify. India does not have a free trade agreement or a bilateral investment treaty with the United States.
At the present time.
That's right.
We're working on that.
Yeah, and but if you're from Pakistan, then you could qualify for both E1 and E2.
And Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka.
Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, they have bilateral investment treaties, so you could qualify for E2 visas if you're from Pakistan or Sri Lanka.
Exactly. And so how does that mechanism work? Well, what it does is it allows you the opportunity. So let's say, for example, you missed the H-1B cap and you don't know what to do. You're from Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Pakistan. What you could do, if you have the means, is to set up a corporation in the United States and then to invest money into that corporation. Now, the question, of course, that we get frequently is how much is enough? And that is handled actually in another video, which you can certainly take a look, scroll through our videos, but we have a specific video on E2 visas and how treaty investors set up corporations, and that question is answered for you there. But you invest money into that corporation, and then what you can do is once that corporation is set up, that corporation can be, you can be as an employee leased from that corporation to some other organization to be doing work in the United States. So it's an excellent mechanism to allow you to be able to work in the United States on a long-term basis for your own corporation and yet perform services for other organizations.
Switching gears, let's talk about the students who are on an OPT and they missed the cap, or they might miss the cap. So if you are a student employed on an OPT and you basically got a degree in science, engineering or technology kind of area, then you might qualify for a special 17-month extension that that may make you eligible for the next H-1B cycle. Again, it's only limited for the students who have a major or who got like 2 majors in science, technology, or engineering. But in case if you don't have a degree in science, engineering, technology kind of thing, you might want to explore the option of going back to school for doing a master's with the hope that next year you might qualify for the master's quota. But I want to emphasize how important it is to determine at this time, before you enroll for the master's program, that whether that master's degree will enable you to qualify for the master's cap. When I say this, you need to check before you enroll for a master's program whether the academic institution is qualifies as an academic institution of higher education in the United States. And when I say academic institution of higher education in the United States, it should be either a public university, or if it's a private university, it should be non-profit. So I have seen cases where people go and pursue master's degrees from academic institutions, and those academic institutions they are private and they are for profit. So gaining a degree from those kind of institutions will not qualify you for a master's cap. However, you will be counted towards the regular H-1B cap of 65,000 visas.
Exactly. And I just want to take a quick step backwards with regard to the STEM OPT and just point out a couple of other things. One is, for those of you who are maybe not aware, that STEM OPT is not something we can help you with as lawyers. You go to your international student officers, and they're the ones who endorse your I-20s and give you the ability to go ahead and apply for those STEM extensions. Number two, with regard to the STEM extensions, for those of you from India, be aware that obviously extending your OPT and being, F1 in OPT status is very good from a tax perspective, because you have certain tax benefits under the under the tax treaties between the United States and India, where you won't have to pay FICA, FUTA, and SUI because of the exemption. So it may pay for you to really take a look hard at that STEM extension. The other thing is that be aware that your employer has to be in E-Verify, which is not a difficult thing to do, and I believe we have a video that covers how to go into E-Verify. And obviously, if you go onto the USCIS website, there is a step-by-step explanation about how your employers can get into E-Verify. So those are just a couple of tidbits about the STEM extension.
We'll try to address certain other issues regarding the OPT, and if you can travel on OPT while your OPT extension is pending, or for which employers can you exactly work for during this period. So, we'll talk more about the other visa options that could be available to people who did not make the cap this year.
I think we're running out of time, at least with regard to this particular video. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to continue our discussion for those of you who are interested about what options are available for those of you who did not make the H-1B lottery this year. So thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll be back with you real soon. Thank you.